Today, we're going to talk about the science of pornography addiction and what pornography does to your brain over time. Have you ever wondered why a man like you, like disciplined, responsible, a provider, a father, can't seem to stop clicking on pornography compulsively? Why is it that you can crush deadlines at work, you can push yourself in the gym, and you can show up for your family, but at night, when the house is quiet and you're alone with your thoughts, you find yourself back on that side again? You used to be sharp, focused, motivated. You had goals, energy, drive. And now, you're foggy, sluggish, dragging yourself through the day like a zombie. You start something, but you can't finish it. You forget why you walked into a room. You can't concentrate. You can't focus. You can't even think clearly anymore. And the terrifying part is, you don't even realize that it's pornography that's doing that to you. Pornography is rewiring your brain without your permission. This isn't just about watching some videos online to entertain yourself. Every time you consume pornography, especially with intense binge-style sessions, you're rewiring the physical structure of your brain. Your brain is literally changing shape in response to your porn use. Neuroscientists call this neuroplasticity. And while it's a beautiful mechanism for learning and adapting, it's also what turns a casual habit into a full-blown compulsive addiction. When you first started watching porn, your brain lit up with dopamine. You felt good, great even. But what you didn't know is that dopamine is more than just a feel-good chemical. It's a learning signal. And pornography floods your system with more dopamine than your brain was ever designed to handle. And so your brain adapts. It builds stronger circuits to make it easier to access that hit. And so you trample the same neural pathway over and over until it becomes the default route. The porn pathway becomes a trench, a rut. And every time life gets hard, your brain sends you back there, automatically, instinctively, without even asking your permission. Now, I talk to men every day, brilliant, driven men who say the same thing. I don't know what's wrong with me. I feel like I'm getting dumber. I used to be on fire, now I'm just here. I hear you. I was you. For over a decade, pornography had me by the throat. It made me feel stupid, unmotivated, broken, and I'm speaking literally, that's how I felt. At my lowest, I couldn't hold a conversation without zoning out. I couldn't retain information. I couldn't even articulate my thoughts properly. I felt like a man who was trapped inside his own foggy mind. And it wasn't until I dug deep into the science that I realized that this wasn't a spiritual weakness. This wasn't a moral failing. It was neurological damage. Let me put it plainly. Pornography has rewired the way your brain experiences pleasure. Not might have, not possibly, it has. You know how you can scroll for hours, jumping from scene to scene, chasing the perfect video, having multiple tabs open. You're not perverted. You're not broken. You're addicted to a neurochemical or a cocktail of neurochemicals. The chemical is dopamine, but there are other endorphins that you could be addicted to. But mainly it's dopamine, your brain's reward signal. It's what lights up after you win at work, or you have a deep conversation with your wife, or you hear the laugh of your child. It's supposed to be the signal that says, yes, this is good, expect more pleasure, let's do more of this. But pornography hijacked that system. It floods your brain with supernormal levels of dopamine, not healthy 5s and 6, but 15s, 20s, imagine 30s in terms of level. Scene after scene, tab after tab, shock, novelty, escalation, and your brain, being the survival machine that it is, adapts. It starts to expect those spikes. It starts to crave that kind of stimuli. It forgets how to feel anything else. So now, when your wife reaches out to you in bed, nothing. When your son says, Daddy, look what I made, you're flat. You can't feel pride for birthing this amazing human being. When you crush a goal at work or you hit a PR at the gym, still numb. Not because those things don't matter, but because your brain has been trained to ignore them. It's called dopamine desensitization. It means your reward receptors, the same ones that are supposed to light up for real life, have been burned out by years of artificial hits. You need more harder, faster, weirder content just to feel a fraction of the buzz you once did. And that's why you've lost interest in sex. That's why your goals feel like chores. That's why you feel tired all the time. That's why you don't recognize the man in the mirror anymore. You didn't wake up one day and just decide to be numb. You trained your brain, click by click, to get high on pixels instead of purpose. And now it doesn't know how to feel alive without them. And here's the part that actually cuts the deepest. Your brain no longer fires up for the people who love you, for your wife, for your kids, your purpose. They've been literally edged out by a screen. Not because you don't care, but because your reward system was stolen from you. You've been robbed, brother. Robbed of joy, robbed of intimacy, robbed of drive. And the thief, the thief was in your pocket the whole time. That explains why you're so irritable. That explains why you avoid sex with your wife and you're no longer turned on by her. That explains why you can't finish a task without checking out or craving a dopamine hit. Then you're on Reddit, you're on X, you're on some forum, you're on Instagram, and then you're on pornography. Because pornography has hijacked the very part of your brain responsible for motivation, for memory, for attention, for rational decision making, and that's your prefrontal cortex. Your brain has been desensitized, and you no longer respond to normal stimuli. A job well done, an intimate moment, your wife's touch, the way you should. So with every click, you've taught your brain to want more. It wants shocking, novel, taboo, forbidden, anything that will give it that adrenaline and dopamine hit. And so you escalate. You click from video to video, from tab to tab, from scene to scene. You go deeper into genres that you once swore you would never touch. I would never watch something like that. Well, here you are. All because your brain is chasing a high that it can never truly catch. And then you crash. Back to the shame. Back to the brain fog. Back to the emptiness. You become a shell of the man that you used to be. The real horror is actually that you stop growing. I've worked with thousands of men, and here's what I've seen over and over again. Porn doesn't just distract you, it arrests your development. I've coached men in their 30s who still think and act and live like they're 19. Why? Because they never finished building out the mental architecture needed for an adult life. You want to know why your marriage feels hollow, or your career feels stalled, or why you feel like you should be further along than you are? That's because pornography froze your brain at the age you actually got hooked. When a man starts using pornography in his teens and using it compulsively, let me clarify, and keeps doing so, going into his 30s, he doesn't just develop bad habits. He actually never develops at all. A man's brain is not fully developed till he's 25, 26 years old. He's not building real intimacy. You're not practicing self-discipline. You're not exercising any form of emotional regulation. You're just using pornography to medicate emotions. You're not learning how to delay gratification. So here you are, in your 30s, with the sexual habits of a teenage boy. That's not just embarrassing, that's dangerous. Because the longer you stay stuck, the harder it is to climb out. And no, willpower won't fix it. Because this is not just a moral failure. It's not a moral failure. It's a system failure. Let me say something that perhaps you've needed to hear for years. You are not a bad man. You're not disgusting. You are not weak. I know some people say you're weak if you can't stop watching pornography. Fuck them. You're not a failure because you can't stop watching pornography. You're addicted. Not metaphorically, not spiritually, just biologically. That's what's happening. This isn't just some bad habit you picked up during puberty that you can replace with another habit. This isn't a matter of praying harder, being a better husband, or thinking positively. Pornography has physically rewired your brain. Your brain has been altered. The circuits responsible for reward, for motivation, and impulse control have been hijacked. Your limbic system is stuck in overdrive, demanding hits of dopamine the way a crack addict begs for one more hit, looks for one more hit, will do anything for one more hit, will sacrifice it all for one more hit. Meanwhile, your prefrontal cortex, it's lagging behind. Numbed out, weakened, overridden. Science calls it hypofrontality. You might call it, why do I keep doing the same shit over and over again when I know it's destroying me? That's the messed up part, right? You can feel your integrity cracking. You're watching yourself betray your values. You know you're hurting your wife. You know you're dulling your purpose. You know you're sabotaging your future. But still, that hand reaches for the phone. The mind spins its rationalizations, and the cycle continues. It feels like you're possessed, like there's something else running the show. That's because there is. It's not you, it's the circuitry in your brain that's been reinforced over years of compulsive consumption. It's not a demon. It's not demonic, like some people say. It's not a character flaw. It's simply neuroscience. Okay? This is a medical issue, a chemical, physical, observable dysfunction in the most vital organ that you possess. And you've been trying to fix a physiological problem with willpower and guilt. Seriously, would you tell a diabetic to pray that their insulin levels get into balance? Would you do that? Would you listen to somebody who's shaking a Bible saying that they have to pray, that that's the solution to a diabetic? Would you tell a man with a broken leg to walk it off? No. Then why the hell do you keep telling yourself that you should just be able to stop watching pornography? Why do you keep listening to people who keep telling you that you have to pray it away? Because your pastor said it's a sin? Because your wife said that you're a sick man? Because society told you that you need to man up? Listen, you can't muscle your way out of brain damage, okay? This is not a moral war. It's a biochemical one. And until you start treating it like the real physical condition that it is, you're going to keep losing. Not because you're not strong enough, but because you're fighting the wrong enemy. You've been punching yourself in the mirror, right? The real enemy is hiding in the back of your skull in a circuit labeled compulsion. And that's why you need a system. Not shame, not sermons, not motivational speeches, not another, I promise this is the last time. You need a strategy that treats the root, not the symptoms. You need a full-scale neurological reboot. And that's what we do inside the Porn Reboot system. We don't just help you quit pornography. We help you rewire the neural pathways in your brain that are keeping you addicted. We teach you how to restore your dopamine sensitivity so you can actually start enjoying real life again. We teach you how to rebuild your ability to focus, to remember and execute on your goals. We teach you how to reignite your sexual connection with your partner and how to restore healthy arousal. We teach you how to strengthen your frontal lobe, the part of your brain that makes rational long-term decisions. And we teach you how to break the addiction loop at its core, not just treat the symptoms. So you will finally think clearly, feel alive, and act with intention again. This isn't hype, it's neuroscience. So brother, I don't care what you've watched. I really don't care what genre or how bad you think it is or how often. I don't care if you binge 7 hours a day and then act out with escorts and drugs. I just care that you win. You might be ashamed of what you've been watching. You might be scared to even speak it out loud, but I don't care. I don't care if you've been watching cartoon porn, gangbang compilations, violent rape fantasies, or if you've been cross-dressing and inviting people to your hotel room. I don't care if you've escalated to stuff that makes you physically sick, because I've seen it all. You're not the first, and you're not alone. I don't care about your past. I care about your future. I care about whether or not you wake up 5 years from now still stuck, still scared, still numb, still ashamed. You were made for more than this. You were not born to be a slave to dopamine. But it all starts with one decision. This ends when you say it ends. Do you want your mind back? Do you want to feel motivated again? You want your kids to grow up without the stench of this addiction in their home? You do know that it's there. They can't tell what it is, but they know something is there. Then you take the first step, brother. Book a call with my team. We'll talk like men, will map out a path for you. You're not going to be sold anything. And if you're serious, if you're done with excuses, we'll walk you through the fire and out the other side. No more pretending. No more waiting for rock bottom. Because when it comes to pornography, there is no rock bottom. What you think is rock bottom is actually a bottomless pit, right? You either climb out or you just keep falling forever. So please, make your move. I'm JK, your brother in this struggle.